What's going on, everybody? Paul Tech here, and welcome to my full review of the Alcatel Verso for Cricket Wireless. So you can actually pick up this device right now for free if you decide to port your number over to Cricket Wireless. But I'm hoping you're watching this review before you actually do that, because I want to share with you my experience in the past 3 weeks of using this smartphone as my daily driver. Let's kick this off with design and build. So you're getting pretty much an all plastic build device. You get your volume rockers, texture power button to the right hand side, and they're actually pretty good placement, nice and easy to reach. To the bottom, you are getting your microphone as well as your micro USB charging port. This device does take around 2 hours and 10 minutes to fully charge. On the left-hand side, there's absolutely nothing. And then taking a look up on top, you are getting your noise cancellation mic and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Moving towards the back of the Alcatel Verso, you're getting a 5 megapixel rear-facing camera, and I do like the fact that it is nice and flush to the back. Get your LED flash, Alcatel branding, as well as Cricket branding and a back-firing speaker. Now this back cover does provide some pretty good grip in the hand. I haven't used a case in the past 3 weeks, and I haven't dropped it or anything like that. It's actually fairly lightweight, compact. It fits nice and comfortable in a pair of jeans, a shirt pocket. The back cover is removable, and in my opinion, that is a positive, because it gives you access to your removable 2050 milliamp hour battery. You also get access to your SIM card, and you can also input an SD card to expand the internal storage. Moving to the front of the Alcatel Verso, you get a 2 megapixel front facing camera, your earpiece, LED notification light, and capacitive buttons to the bottom. A 5-inch 480 by 854 resolution display, about 196 pixels per inch, and this does have Dragon Trail glass for some scratch resistance. Now I watch a lot of Netflix, a lot of YouTube videos on the smartphone, and the thing is with YouTube, for instance, the highest resolution I was able to watch was at 480p resolution. So you don't get the best viewing experience. Colors look a little washed out and muted. Viewing angles are not going to be the best on this, but in my opinion, in 2018, even with phones you get for free on a port over special, they should be at least at 720p resolution, not 480p. Now, when it comes to outdoor visibility, you're pretty much going to have the display cranked up to about 100% for some decent visibility. But again, it's not going to be the brightest display, and it's not going to be the best visibility. And when it comes to 4G LTE connectivity, I was only able to get about 1 to 2 bars in my area in the past 3 weeks of using this. And with other Cricket Wireless devices, I would get between 3 and 4. Now, for instance, when it came to using GPS, it always had a difficult time finding the best route, and it would tell me it can't connect. And once it did find my location, GPS would be working for a couple minutes, and then it would tell me data connection lost. So not the best 4G LTE connectivity. When it comes to making phone calls on this, it was actually a pretty positive experience. I didn't really have any issues making calls, receiving calls, and callers said I sounded perfectly fine on the other end. Now, when it comes to sending out text messages, emails, the keyboard sensitivity is actually pretty good. You are running Gboard on this, and I really didn't have any issues sending picture messages or receiving them. And so as you can see there, those are some of the different emojis you do have on the stock keyboard here. And when it comes to what's under the hood of the Alcatel Verso, you are getting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 210 processor, clocked at 1.1 gigahertz. This also has the Adreno 304 and 2 gigabytes of RAM. Now, when it comes to these sensors, as you can see there, there is not a whole lot of sensors on this device, and it is missing the gyroscope, the gyro sensor. So this is not going to be good for 360 videos or VR. And taking a look at the user interface here. So if you're coming from another Alcatel device, maybe on Cricket Wireless, this is all going to look very familiar to you. As you can see, this is the basic layout of the app drawer, and there are some pre-installed apps and games and some Cricket Wireless bloatware. One of the applications that is pre-installed on this is the fact that you can listen to FM radio. Just plug in a pair of headphones to the 3.5mm headphone jack, and it works perfectly fine, and audio does sound pretty decent from the headphones. Using the Alcatel Verso for the past couple weeks, going back to the fact that this is running the 210 processor and it only has 2 gigabytes of RAM, I noticed that when I do launch an application, there is some pretty slow loading times, especially when I get multiple applications open and running. So if you're a light user, and I mean where you're not going to be using a whole lot of applications, then this might work for you. But if you are the type of user, maybe a moderate to heavy user, where you have to have multiple applications open in the background, you got to have Chrome open, Google Maps, and then, you're doing a lot of multitasking, I don't think this device is going to work well for you, because it doesn't take a whole lot of apps open to actually get that slowdown to occur. And I also couldn't get the multi-window, the split screen mode to work, where you pretty much have two applications open side by side. So just kind of keep that in mind. Pulling down the status bar, as you can see, you're getting all the basic quick toggles that you find on other Android devices, like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, a flashlight option, night mode, and then you also get hotspot on this as well. And then jumping into settings, I'll just kind of show you around here a little bit. Now, when it came to connecting this to Wi-Fi, I didn't have any issues there. I was able to connect to Wi-Fi at work, at home. Bluetooth connectivity actually worked pretty good as well. And you're also getting the mobile hotspot on this. I didn't try it out, but you do have it. You got a gesture option there. So turn over to mute, turn over to activate, and then double tap the screen option. So you can either enable those or you can disable them. Moving on to lock screen. So with the Alcatel Verso, there is no fingerprint sensor on this device. So your security features, I'm gonna jump into screen lock, is going to be swipe, pattern, pin, and password. So basically pattern, pin, and password is what you do have there for your security features. And you also get smart lock on this as well. And then moving on to display, you get some options here for adaptive brightness. You get a night mode option, sleep, and then you can again press the power button twice, actually to launch the camera. And then you get your screensaver, font size, display size. And moving on from there, I'll go ahead and jump into internal storage. So you are getting 16 gigabytes of internal storage, but you can also remove that back cover, input an SD card, and you can also use the SD card as internal storage / adoptable storage. So that is a nice feature you have on the Alcatel Verso. And as you can see right there, this is rocking Android 7.0 Nougat. And they got October 1st, 2017 security patch. And to be honest with you, I really don't see this device getting any more type of updates. I think that's pretty much where it's going to stay. And then going to the Geekbench 4 test, for those of you that are interested, single core score 380, multi-core score 1041. When it came to the Antutu benchmark test, this did score in at 26,331 for those that are interested. And moving on to gameplay on the Alcatel Verso. So I did download several different games off the Google Play Store. They all seem to download perfectly fine under Wi-Fi. Now, when it came to the casual, light games, for instance, like this one here, or Subway Surfers, Temple Run, all of those games seem to run perfectly fine, no overheating issues whatsoever. When I did try to play the more graphic intense games, I noticed that there was some hiccups, some stutters, no overheating, but it just kind of had a difficult time playing those games. So I would definitely recommend sticking to the light frame rate games for best overall gameplay performance. Now, moving on to the camera. So you're getting that 2 megapixel front facing camera, and the front facing camera is okay. It's not great, it's not spectacular. In good lighting conditions, selfies will look okay, and when you go into low lit or dark scenarios, things can get pretty noisy and grainy. The Alcatel Verso is also rocking that 5 megapixel rear facing camera with LED flash. Go ahead and share with you here the camera interface. Now, I did notice with the shutter speed, it can be a little on the slow side, especially if you have HDR enabled. You got your controls to the side there for flash, timer, HDR, and audio. When it comes to video recording, you can actually record in 720p resolution, and the video recording actually isn't that bad because you actually have electronic image stabilization. I'm not saying it's super good or anything like that, but it does, maintain a smooth frame rate for the most part when you are recording videos. And then you can also take a photo, pause, and resume while you are recording on the Alcatel Verso here. Jumping into settings, as you can see, you can change the photo size. You can either have grid lines, you have a low light enhancement option there, video quality, like I said, 720p resolution, and then you also have electronic image stabilization. To be honest with you, in good lighting conditions outdoors, is going to be the best type of quality photos and videos. Low light can get grainy and noisy. Here's some sample shot on the Alcatel Verso.
We'll never forget the
Now when it comes to battery life, again, you're getting that removable 2050 milliamp hour battery. Now standby time is actually pretty good on this device, but for me, I typically had to top off before the end of the day, and I was getting between 3 and 3.5 hours of screen on time. But again, your battery life will vary, just depends on how you use your Alcatel Verso. Last area before I forget on this review is the fact that you are getting that backfiring speaker, and the backfiring speaker is just going to sound okay. Again, not the best placement, and when you have the volume at 100%, things can sound pretty tinny, so just kind of keep that in mind. That's pretty much my full review regarding the Alcatel Verso for Cricket Wireless. And again, it's definitely difficult for me to recommend this device to any consumer out there. I know sometimes we see the advertising, we see the commercials, free smartphone when you port over, but free sometimes doesn't always equal good. So if you are going to Cricket Wireless, you are going to port your number over, I would definitely recommend passing on this. I would definitely recommend going for something like the LG Fortune. This is also free on a port over special. I did a full review on this and I had a really good experience. Link is in the description below. If your budget is a little bit more, you have a little bit more to spend, I would definitely recommend also the ZTE Blade X. This is a fantastic option. I had a good experience with this. You get a better display, better processor, better camera, fingerprint sensor. It's overall just a really good device to pick up, but it will cost just a tad bit more. It's not free on a port over, but that's my recommendation. That's my full review of the Alcatel Verso. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel for more future videos. This is Paul Tech, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.